At Merthyr's community football stadium, the stands are empty. Instead, in what should be a buzzing matchday bar, new RAF recruits file in, here to be trained by local police officers for a very different front line.
We're here today to show you how to put your PPE on correctly.
For a few days at the start of November, Merthyr Tydfil had the highest rate of coronavirus of anywhere in the UK, and more infections than any part of Wales. For every 100,000 people living in this area, more than 700 had COVID-19. That took it briefly to first place in the country, above Oldham and Blackburn. Nearly a third of all the tests carried out here came back positive.
This is what you need to be looking like every time you're at the station.
After mass testing in Liverpool, it was now Merthyr's turn. Everyone in this town of 60,000 people would be offered a test, and to help do it, the RAF were drafted in.
And what's been the response of the general public to seeing the military here in such numbers?
Extremely welcoming. We're frequently mistaken as soldiers, at which point he shows his very nice new RAF patch. But I've actually been quite overwhelmed by the welcoming nature of everybody that we've spoken to.
From the football ground, it's onto the minibuses for the short journey to Merthyr's leisure centre. This building's the focus of the COVID testing operation. No appointments needed, and on the first day they opened, nearly 1,000 people turned up, queuing right around the centre. Inside, they get their first glimpse of the testing setup and the sheer scale of what they're now involved in.
So as you look at it, you've got obviously where the customers are going to be queuing up, going through the actual system itself. The outer banks, if you like, are the receiving stations where the customer will go to that location. They'll then be talked through the process.
175 RAF personnel are here in Merthyr Tydfil for 10 days helping to conduct coronavirus testing. Many of them have just finished their basic training at RAF Halton, and this rather unusual tasking in South Wales is their first military deployment.
22-year-old Danielle Keys is from Cannock near Birmingham. She joined the RAF in March as an aerospace operations specialist.
Yeah, I've only actually just graduated from Halton 3 weeks ago.
So this is your first deployment as such, really? A very strange one.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it all?
A bit apprehensive for now, but once we get going I think I'll be fine.
Did your family feel proud of you doing this?
Yes, they're very proud. I keep getting messages from them. They just keep messaging me like, stay safe, proud of you.
Also here is 20-year-old Nathan Stayett from Redcar. Day to day, he's a chef at RAF Coningsby, but he's actually from a pretty medical family.
A little awkward that a lot of my family are all in the medical career. Like my sister's as a medic in the army, dad's paramedic, mum's a carer, and I'm a chef. Because I'm quite new to this, I've not had much time to experience how other deployments work. But with this being my first one in our home ground, being able to actually help out our people, it's quite exciting, and it makes you feel that proud feeling just that you're out there on your ground interacting with the people you are protecting.
Yeah, it will go all the way down to the bottom.
This is what a mass test looks like in action. On each side, areas for people to take their coronavirus test, a swab of the nose and mouth called a lateral flow test. In the centre of the hall is the laboratory section, where RAF personnel dip those swabs in solution and then apply them to a simple paper strip, triggering a reaction, a bit like a home pregnancy test.
That is your test pretty much done there. Once that's done, it just takes about 30 minutes to do. So in the meantime, it's just clearing, making sure we're all safe, so just taking the gloves off, giving everything a wipe over. Then after the 30 minutes, we just record it on the phone, and then she'll get a text message coming through, and he'll just give them the results of the test.
Anyone who tests positive is asked to return and visit the other half of the sports hall. On this side, they conduct another more accurate test called a PCR. On the first day, they had 9 positives here. Today, encouragingly, this area is empty of customers. The leisure centre is actually one of 7 test sites which have been set up in Merthyr and the surrounding area. 2 miles away in this community hall, another group of RAF personnel are conducting more tests. To date, the local council says more than 6,100 people have turned up at centres like these, with around 1% of those testing positive for COVID-19.
So how do you keep your people safe?
Through social distancing, through all the safety measures that we know we need to follow, but also they're all tested each day before they deploy. So we know that they're all without the infection before they deploy out to the public. For a lot of them, it's the start of their RAF career, and so there's that innate enthusiasm and excitement about it. And the fact that they're contributing to something which will have significant impact on the population is tremendous.
Thankfully, the number of cases here has fallen quite dramatically, but Merthyr is still among the worst hit areas in Wales. Mass testing is expected to go on for a month, the military gradually handing over the job to local council staff and volunteers. For these personnel, it's a very different role to the one they signed up to do. And while this microscopic enemy is invisible, their sense of pride in what they're doing is very easy for all to see. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.